All right, we are live again on Sunday. And as the title of this live chat, uh, it was 40 years ago today that it was commissioning day for my ship out in Long Beach, California. We're building the Todd LA Pacific shipyards. I spent some time there in the yards, and then they towed us down the road to the naval base, and they had a big commissioning ceremony that day. I was there for commissioning 1984, and in 2014 I was down in San Diego for the decommissioning. Didn't quite get its 30 years in, or it was about 30 years. 14, yep. 30 years they do. Took it out and sank it. For any of you that don't know, there's a picture of it. You get that? Now I was on that. I was actually up on deck when that photograph was taken. A Learjet flew over while we were off the coast of California and took those photographs. And that's how you got your official Navy photograph. On the bridge, if you look, there's a red-headed fella. That's Dunwell. He was a quartermaster, ran the chart room. And if you look back on the back end, you see two little blue dots. That's me and my buddy Richard Williams sitting out there. We were there sitting outside there the day they took that picture. I think they built 50 of these things. And all but, I think they kept 5 of them in the mothball fleet. But they were all taken out and either sunk. They were going to sell our ship to Taiwan, salvage it, but because of political reasons, they canceled the sale, and they used it as a target. Like most of these ships, that's where they ended up. I remember they used some of them helicopter carriers that were next to us down there. They used them as targets too. But it's a sad thing for them to end that way. You'd like to see somebody get them. The 4 of them that the Australians had built, the last one, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was either the Darwin. I think it was the Darwin, the last of the series of 4 we built for the Aussies. Long Beach when they took the ship and then took off. And when I asked the Australian, I asked a question about it. And actually, somebody from the Australian Naval Historical Society sent me an email and explained to me which ship that I was talking about. And out of the 4, I think the Chilean Navy bought one of them. And then one might have been used as a target. And then the Darwin they were going to purchase it and sink it to make an artificial reef, private organization or something. And they ran out of funds, so they couldn't tow the thing out and sink it or something. I don't know. He was explaining it to me. But they're an interesting ship. And I forget how many we built, purpose-built for foreign navies. I know Poland's got 2 of them. One was the Clark, and I forget the other one. And they're out there still in service today. I think we built some for Egypt. And then some of them, when you see them, it's pretty funny. You'll see up on, okay, we're like in this area here, over in here, they would build up in like World War II, and there's these gun turrets, like 40 millimeter anti-aircraft turrets built there because they removed the missile, or they didn't have the missile system. It's pretty neat. They look like a little tiny miniature World War II battleship with little gun ports or gun mounts all over. It's pretty crazy. But there's several of them still out today in service with several countries. They're not a bad ship. Uh, and of course, we had jet engines. And so if you're tied to the pier and you had your power, sewage, and water disconnected, it's just like turning your damn car on. You kick them turbines over, and in 15 minutes, you can be pulling away. That was nice about them. On a steamship, you got to light off them boilers and sit there for 24 hours. That's why when I was working on shore duty, some of the women that was in the 300 people there, their husbands would be on one of these ships that were going to deploy. And if he's on an old steamship, they'd light her off and everybody's secured for 24 hours. So usually what they used to do, now this is when being in the Navy, was fun. Okay. They'd have a damn picnic. So you had to sit there for a day, light your boilers off, make sure you're running good. And in the evening, they'd have a party. And the family and friends can come. And they had hot dogs, hamburgers, beer. Okay, which that's against the rules, Bowden. I remember that one woman said, she goes, they're having a party, come down with me. So a bunch of us went with her. They knew who she was. She said, these are my friends, neighbors, whatever. And they said, well, go ahead. And went down, got a couple of burgers, a glass of beer, said goodbye to her husband before he took off. And that being in the Navy was fun. Okay, now they curtailed that. Drinking's bad, smoking's bad, everything's bad. But yesterday, because a bunch of the fellas are up there in Missouri, there's about 5 of them that live in this area. And I'm talking, these are people I was in the service with together over 40 years ago. 40 years ago is when I met them all. Some of us didn't stay in like me. Some of them guys stayed in for 20, 30 years. Well, they all went to this one guy's bar. One of the guys that was associated with the crew somehow. And one guy was there. The quartermaster was there. Another fellow I kept in touch with him was there. 2 or 3, there's about 5 or 6 fellows there on Zoom. And then 4 of us got together. 2 guys in California. One fellow moved to Florida, and I'm up here in North Carolina. And we all tied into him in Missouri. So it was fun. We spent a couple hours live on a little live chat or Zoom meeting or whatever the hell this is. So it was nice to see some of them guys. Some of them fellows I haven't seen in, close to 38 years or so, One fellow in California, I hadn't seen him since the day I left the ship back in 1986. And then 2 of them guys came to the reunions we had in San Diego years ago. And I remember seeing one went to one reunion and the other fellow lived right there, Sam. I seen him twice. And everybody, after all these years, some kind of major medical thing, be it cancer, triple bypass, every single one of these guys had a major health issue. Ain't nobody unscathed, And some of the fellows are a couple years younger than me, so they ain't all. And the chiefs, when they show up, guys that were CPOs, they're in their 80s and 90s. The one chief, you could barely hear him. He was there. I remember him. He was okay. But some of them non-veterans we had with us. All right, so we got 7 or 8 people here and nobody chimed off. Usually Joe Morgan and the boys from Canada usually pop up. I know Joe makes a point every time I go live to Mad Company. All right, good morning. Makes a point to get into a discussion. He runs his own live streaming quite often. I've seen several of them. He keeps them kind of short. He just goes over his thoughts. And oh, new project. Who here has seen, with these Turkish shotguns? We all know about these cheap shotguns that come in the country. And when we're talking about how reloading is so expensive, if you buy your guns from an online place, like I've looked around, and have them sent to a dealer, I watch these things where the guy does a burn down, takes a pump or semi-automatic shotgun and tries to fire 500 rounds. Now, most of these shotguns have 3-inch chambers. Now, any of you guys out there ever had any experiences firing shotguns with 3-inch chambers in any size or type of gun? Or in an 18-inch barrel, riot gun, whatever, your defense weapon? Okay, I did once. I bought a Mossberg Cruiser. And when I bought it in the store, and it was, I think it was a 18 or 20-inch with an extended mag. So I bought a Cruiser with a pistol grip, a 20-inch barrel, and an extended magazine. I think got 8 rounds, 2 3/4 or something in there. And the guy at the shop goes, "Here, I got these." And it's Winchester 3-inch Magnum aught buckshot, not double aught buckshot. And he goes, "This is the stuff that'll go through a car door." I said, okay. I bought 2 5-round boxes. That was back in 1980 something. Okay. And it looks like I had something just jump through there. It was weird. I hope we're not being taken over by aliens. But that goes to show you. Trying to fire them 5 rounds. I remember I tried firing 2. I was lucky that gun didn't come out and hit me in the head when I fired that. And then my buddy had a pump. Smith & Wesson made a pump shotgun for the police at one time, and he bought one in a shop as police surplus, and it had a 3-inch chamber because most guns had a 2 3/4. All my Remingtons are 2 3/4. It wasn't until the late 80s, 90s that everybody made a 12 gauge. It was in a 3-inch chamber after a certain point. Remington, Mossberg, all of them, at a certain point did that. I think Mossberg did it first, making all of their guns with a 3-inch chamber, or 12 gauge shotguns with a 3-inch chamber to kind of outsell Remington, the 870. And then Mossberg did improve their guns to where now it's superseded. It used to be, I'd say, an 870, but the Remington product line went downhill so bad ever since the 80s, and I know why. And Mossberg, on a ship, we were there, that's what we had. Mossberg 500s, wooden stocks, 18-inch barrels, open choke. And when they do this burn down, they got all this wild ass shit that they fire through there, and they do have 3-inch chambers in them, the guns. And this guy, I forget the name of his channel, but he goes out there. I mean, he just goes nuts, and he shows where the guns kind of don't work. Because the thing is, if you look at the price of these guns, okay, I got 3 of them this week to get some venues in. Plus, the fact is, somebody was pestering me for one of these AR-15 style shotguns to find them one. And I remember about a year or 2 ago, I went to a gun show looking. These things are like $550, $600. I went to Palmetto State Armory. They got one pump riot gun. Who knows where it's made? China, Turkey, whatever. $110 or $120. Then you got to pay shipping and all that other shit, of course. And then they had one of those AR style guns, semi-automatic, $199. Okay, they used to be a $500 item. And then I found someone else had on sale for, you know, $140 some dollars, a semi-automatic with an 18-inch barrel, is synthetic stock, probably made in Turkey or something. It looks like a Benelli or something like that. So I'm going to do my own series of testing, do a lot of testing with the shotguns, because this is something that be easy for me to liquidate when I'm done testing them. Actually, you know, I got a bunch of ammunition, but I wanted to get some 3-inch shells and some other stuff when I test these. I spent more money on ammunition, or just about as much money buying extra ammunition to run through these and just check them out, than I did buying the guns. So, you know, that's where I got to do another thing for support. Yeah, but we'll see. It'll be interesting. And if you guys are in the self-defense, preppers, or end of the world, collapse of the economy, 12 gauge shotguns with double aught buckshots, pretty good thing to have lying around. You know, I got my old 870 pump, and I just go in and get it, and got a bandolier ammo for it. And that's what the hell we use in the military. This green ass Winchester stuff. That's all they issued us. 2 3/4 buckshot load. That was it. No 3-inch magnums, no signaling flares. Of course, we still had M40 grenade launchers, which is kind of like a mega shotgun. But yeah, I'll set that there. So that's something I'm going to make a whole array of videos of and work on. I guess it's a popular subject, and you know, from what I see, these guys. Another thing, when I used to shoot trap, people would go. They had Perazzi's. They had all these shotguns that cost $10,000, $15,000. All right, so you know, I want to get into price. You know, some of these guns cost 10 grand. Being modest, up to 20. I think Krieghoff was $25,000 for a trap combo. So these fellows had some expensive firearms. I'm never gonna own. And they go buy these. The hell was these foreign shells? I know Sterling. Stay the hell away from them. Or they buy them from Australia, or what were the ones that were out of Italy or Europe? It'll come to me. But they buy these cheap shotguns. Now, if you use Winchester AA or Remington, the green hulled ones, what the hell were they? I forget the name of them, but if you use those shotgun shells, they were great. Okay. You start putting them other ones in there, and I mean, they'd fire them. One guy, his shotgun hull would stick in that single barrel, and he would have to pry the thing out. He had something, a tool or something. He'd have to go in there and pry them shells the hell out of there. And he bought like 1,000 of them on a deal. Okay. And so, you know, to explain that is sometimes that ammunition's so shitty it won't work in anything. Okay, and a lot of people don't get that. Yeah, you're getting the stuff cheap and you're just gonna go blast up, you know, your neighbor's house or whatever the hell you're doing, or expend 500 rounds. But it's a good double aught bucks, about $1 was at one time, $1, if not $1 plus a round. So to burn 500 rounds of shotgun shells through a $100 shotgun, you know, you can technically shoot $400 worth of ammo through, or $500 worth of ammo through a $100 shotgun. You know, just to prove that it's cheap and a piece of junk. So I kind of don't get the sense in it. But I'm going to see, you know, something like that. Maybe something just throw in a damn truck. case of road rage incidences or whatever, or something to just store somewhere, where you don't care if it gets a little rusty or something or whatever, they a $1,500 friggin' Benelli that you're shoving in a garage or something someplace. All right, we got 10 people joining us. Looks like we ain't got a big turnout today. No questions have popped up on the comment section in the live chat, so I don't know. Looks like people are getting bored. Can't get nobody in here. I don't know. I'll keep doing it, I guess, just to see what happens. But there's only 7 of you. None of you's got any questions. It's a slow Sunday. All right, I got somebody active here. That's good. We got some kind of audience participation. It must be. I mean, the heat's bad. I ain't going outside. I got to run to the store and pick up some stuff, maybe drop off some stuff at the post office, go to the Legion. They did fix the air conditioning, so we ain't going to die in there of heat exhaustion. But have 1 or 2 and get the hell out of Dodge. Being outside ain't good, or working in the garage ain't going to happen. But, it's tough on everybody. And who knows how things are going to go. Well, who watched the presidential debate? Let's talk about something interesting there, or, comedy, entertainment. Any of you watched it? I did. I watched half of it and decided that the whole country's going to ruin. That's why I'm uploading a video on my opinions on that, and that'll be posted tomorrow. Matter of fact, let me check and see, make sure this is going up. Yep. Yes, I did do something with my uploading problems. I guess they improved the software, and like if uploading to YouTube lasted so long, my computer wouldn't, the way the software was, it wouldn't go into sleep mode. But I believe that did something, that even when you shut the editing software off, it did something to the computer that kept it open or running. And when you go to shut it down all the way, that would always come up that program was keeping the computer from shutting down. And I guess they fixed that glitch. But I think what happens is, while I'm uploading, the computer wouldn't go into sleep mode. Now when it goes to sleep, into sleep mode, it does something where it cuts off the upload to YouTube. I don't know. So I just got it to where I leave it open to the max where it goes into sleep mode on the computer, and the problem went away, and now I can upload my videos. So that's the way it goes. But yeah, the presidential debate. This country's in trouble. We're all in trouble after watching that. Yeah, this is unusual. I don't think I've ever had a live get this slow. Usually somebody, when they come to the live, will ask something, say something. I don't know. Maybe should be out celebrating the 40th anniversary of my ship. That was good. Drop this down to 4 now. Yeah, well, I'll keep going. If that number gets any lower, I'll probably call it quits and wait till next week. Come up with a topic of some sort or something. Or is next week going to be the 4th of July? Let me see. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4th of July weekend. So everybody will be doing something. I might skip it. I think the wife's going to want to have a barbecue and some other stuff. And that's when we get the little tiny marshmallows for the raccoons. They seem to like that. like celebrating the 4th. But yep. So we're going to have shotgun testing. And probably some more political type videos. I got some thoughts there because just the condition of the military and what's going on and everything isn't very good. Okay, and I have no idea how out of control it's going to get in the next coming few months. The closer we get to the election, I think the wilder the ride's going to be. And God only knows what's going to happen. Okay, they're already talking about shifting who's going to be running and that, you know, all kinds of stuff. And I can't remember how the order works or what all the damn rules and regulations are when it comes to the president. I do know that if the president becomes incapacitated, mentally, physically, whatever, he gets either deathly ill or something happens to him, he can't be removed. You know, there is some kind of clause, but then again, they're going to, that I guess if he got removed for that reason, say he had a heart attack, was incapacitated, couldn't get out of bed. Okay, I always thought that the vice president immediately takes over. So I don't know. They nominated him as a Democratic candidate, and he refuses to step down. I don't know if they can swap him out at the last minute before the election or some weird crap like that. I don't know. But I don't think it will be well received by the general public, along with several other strange things going on, if the economy doesn't collapse. And then I guess, you know, everybody, because that other thing I'm dealing with, the metals, they're all talking about indicators. And, you know, it's whenever you trade in stocks, commodities, whatever, you always watch indicators, reports, and that, job reports, unemployment reports, housing. And that's how you make your call on where to put your money or what you think the stock market will do. Well, they were saying they're supposed to lower the interest rates because the sad reality is during the debate, they said that whatever you put in your grocery cart 4 years ago, $100 worth of groceries now is inflated to $120, which is not true. Okay, it's 4 times more. So like when one guy went and somebody else posted this, they seen that. Okay, a guy went to the grocery store, same one he's been going to for years. He had a receipt. He bought the same exact items, which cost him $80 back in the beginning, now cost close to $300 and some dollars. And my wife's told me that too. When she heard that when we were watching the debate, she almost flew off the end of the couch. She said what she budgeted for the month or whatever, she used to budget with just the two of us, it's like $500, okay, is what it cost. And that was just for the month, food, stuff, you know, whatever you go to the grocery store to get. She goes, now it's $1,500. It's not another, you know, 100 or 200. She goes, it's 3 times the amount. And we're not talking about having steak and lobster every night for dinner either. We're just talking just average thing. You know, because I know a lot of people used to like to go out and COVID screwed that up, and that ain't cheap. Okay. I mean, yeah, you just drive out and go eat, but that's way more expensive than going to the grocery store and making something for dinner, you know. But yeah, just that there 3 times. So they're lying through their teeth there. And then every time somebody asks a really important question to either one of them, like, what are you going to do with all this people that just flooded through the country. How are you going to get rid of them? No answer. Then Putin, I guess, keeps sending some kind of peace negotiations. They're not negotiating with them. And they asked, how are you going to deal with this? They're asking Trump, do you agree with Putin? Would you negotiate with him or what? That's, uh, and then they tried, then he starts saying how, the other one's a clown and all this other stuff. They said, well, just answer this question. And he did say, no, I don't agree with him. So he did that safe, but he didn't give no details. Okay, it doesn't matter. Diplomacy. Okay, if there's a war and someone offers negotiations, you talk to them. Okay, to not talk, regardless of what the hell they ask, to not sit down and just discuss this. It is a criminal act itself. You're not doing your country well. You're costing people their lives, not even to make an attempt, okay, or give a counter demand or something, okay, is ridiculous. Unless Putin's he's doing something that's going to screw him out of money, and they ain't going to give. Okay, that's what the hell it all kind of boils down to. Well, I don't know. We're back up to 10 now, so that's not too terrible. Still no activity in the chat. Nobody's got any questions. I guess all the curious people are busy today, doing something. And maybe the title, people are not into military discussions or whatever. But what the hell? Like I said, I sure as hell ain't going outside, going on a 30-mile bike ride. Let's see. There he is. I'm not busy. There we go. We got some other people who are like-minded and here with nothing to do on a Sunday morning. I would sit around and talk about whatever. Yeah, but, well, we all know, we all been talking about it. Things are going to get weird here in the next year. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Anybody get any new guns? Any of the viewers? I know I only got 80. Is anybody got anything new? Anybody working on a new project or trying to fire something 30 Win Mag and a 300 H&H mag or anything? What do I know about SA daggers? The SAS daggers from World War II, like the Fairbanks and that, those, I never really got into the edge weapons much. I used to, years ago, know all of that stuff, collect all that stuff. I had helmets, I had uniforms, I had swords, I had the German dress daggers. I think I had 2 or 3 of them. I had a Luftwaffe, an SA, and I think an Army dagger. Things like that nature. My 99. Well, find a new stock for my Type 99. I don't know where you'd find one of those. And in December, I'm going to bid on a 38A. Okay, Sherman Sales. All right, somebody on the shotguns. Stoeger Freedom Series shotguns are excellent. Well, yeah, I mean, the Stoegers, some of the stuff coming in. I think my niece's husband bought a Stoeger side-by-side and 20 gauge home defense. And it's got a Picatinny rail on it and everything, even mount a sight on there, and that's what he used to keep in the house. Uh, they're good quality. Okay, and some of the Charles Daly, somebody showed me one. This woman, her father died, you know, and he had to be in his 90s because she's close to 70 years old, and she had this shotgun, and the thing was brand new. It was a little 20 gauge pump. Um, and she goes, "Is this safe to fire?" And this and that. And I said, "You know, I don't think anybody's ever fired this." She goes, "Well, I got it when my father passed. I inherited it, but I want you to look at it and tell." I said, "You want me to go out? I'll fire some shells out of it, make sure it works, clean it, oil it, and I give you some buckshot or something to put in there. You keep around the house." You know, uh, I'm talking. See, now when I go into looking into this shotguns, you know, $110, $140 for a semi-automatic shotgun, and even an AR-15 things that were 500-600 bucks, 199 for one of them. There's a reason. Somebody did a video where they went. I guess they're a company. He just said for $100 and some dollars he bought 9 of these semi-automatic shotguns, and I think some of them had extended tubes and ghost sights, whatever. And you can get them from stripped down $100. And like he said, add another $40. They got accessories or something on there. But the idea is to get the cheapest, least expensive one and try it out. You know, because if you really wanted a decent pump shotgun, defense one is what's the Mossberg 500? What the hell is that Virgin they make? They make a off brand that's cheaper. I forget what they call it, but it's just a Mossberg 500. It's not drilled and tapped. It only comes blued, which to a lot of people that's a pain in the ass. They don't like it. Maverick, the Maverick brand. The Maverick brand is just like an old 500, you know, simple, blue, this and that. And Maverick, yep, 88, Maverick 88. You can get one of them with the extended mag and a 20-inch barrel for like $200 friggin' dollars. And, you know, that's for a basic base price shotgun, you know, with a 3-inch chamber, if you so desire. I'm going to discuss that. I don't know how many of you guys ever fired 3-inch shells out of any kind of shotgun. Okay, I haven't. You can't control it. In a riot gun, I mean, you can't unless you got some kind of sling or rope or something with your hand tied onto the forend. You cannot control it. Okay, so what the hell you need it for? You know, like I showed you, them little standard 2 3/4 buckshot or number 4 buck. Okay, in your home. And another thing, in your house. You know, unless you're living in some estate, you're not going to have no distance further, even down a hallway, more than 10 or 12 feet, you know, of a shot. And who's going to fire a 3-inch Magnum double out buckshot load in your home? You're going to tear, you know, you're going to damage the house structurally or shoot through the rooms. And if there's anybody on the other side of the house, you're probably going to hit them too, you know. Yeah, goose hunting. My nephew bought, I think, a Benelli with a 3.5-inch chamber on it. And he went to hunt Canadian geese and duck. Okay. But I think he bought that on a flash sale, this gun, for like, he said, "Oh, I got a deal on it. It was $1,300. I mean, it's a beautiful shotgun." But, you know, but he does go out with his friends, and he goes out there in the fall and he hunts duck and geese. You know, that's what he does, and that's the gun to use. Okay, he likes it. I don't know what the hell he shoots in it. I never went with him. You know, he just showed it to me when he bought it when I was up there visiting. But I'm talking more with us mill surplus people, you know, how it kind of oozes in. Like we got somebody here asking about collecting daggers and knives and that, you know, that kind of drifts into the mill surplus because all of us that collect the guns usually accumulate some of the web gear, some of the cartridge pouches, the bayonet, and then, you know, uniforms used to be a thing. I got all kinds of mill serp uniforms, East German, whatever the hell. But I used to have a uniform collection. I did do that, and medals and badges. You know, I had a collection of U.S. medals. You know, prior to up to Vietnam, all the campaign medals and that, unless you went way back to like the Spanish American War or something. But from World War One on up, um, that I think the highest Silver Star achievement medals. I never got into like the Navy Cross, Army Cross there, and Medal of Honor. Now I don't know if Medal of Honors are you're not supposed to buy or sell them or something like that. I heard that. I don't know, but you never seen one. Okay. The only time I've seen medals of honor is when I went to a gun show and the family of someone who won one posthumously had the thing on display and had a table with the guy's story and photographs of him, and the medal itself was in the case with the citation that was presented to the family. Those are about the only medals of honor that I've ever seen. And, that's something you might get a repro. I think they sold a replica. So if you built a board and put all the medals in that, you can stick the replica up in there. To make a display board, which would be pretty cool. Of course, now, you know, all the different U.S. decorations they got in the past 30 years, don't shoot the enemy medal, be kind to your enemy medal or whatever the hell. Fuck me. But anyway, my dad had a Cobra street sweeper. See, I'll tell you how I feel about a shotgun as a weapon or for defense, okay, or just as like a military weapon. Okay, first off, was always a pump action. They're simple. Yes, people can screw them up and break them, but in general, it's pretty, 870 or 500. Either one of them is all you need. Okay, don't have to go more expensive. And well, we're going to find out what the cheaper models do. All that stuff from China is all rough and kind of tolerances ain't tight on it. But I had that one lever gun that I fooled around with for a while. And after I made the videos, the thing's sitting there forever and somebody's seen it and wanted it more to me. So, picked up 18 while back, cool rifle. This way. W.R. Richards. Is it a shotgun? Fancy scrolling. Well, I used to go to the flea market, and you could put 870 out there. You can put Mossberg out there. Somebody would come. This one guy went and bought all of these single break action, single shot shotguns, and I mean, he showed up. He had 20 of them. Okay. And some of them were these companies at 1891. He showed me 1898 or whatever. And all these guns were lined up. And they were anywhere from $30 from some that looked like they were stored in a river to he wanted like $125 for the nicest, oldest one. They flocked to that table. And on one weekend, he sold about half of them. People just like these farmers, whatever the hell, single shot shotgun. in decent shape with a clean bore, and he was selling them all day long. You know, it's something people. It's under $100 bill, so they love it. Okay. As for what you're saying, the shotgun, you have to figure out is it a Damascus barrel or a spiral barrel? Okay, those are the ones that they're always weak, especially the real inexpensive ones. Them things burst back in the old days with cartridges loaded with black powder. And spiral barrels, and I've seen some that are really nice, and I've seen some that you could see where it's a strip of iron that somebody welded together, a blacksmith, over a mandrel. I mean, you could see the grooves all the way through a guy. Somebody gave him that gun. It was a very old gun. I cleaned all the rust and stuff out of it, kind of cleaned it up, oiled it up real nice, and he just went and hung it on over the fireplace or some shit. He was never going to shoot it, but it was something belonged to his family or some old timer he knew that he was friends with gave him the gun. And I kind of told him, you know, shoot this thing. He goes, no, just clean it for me, make it look nice. I'm going to hang it on the wall. That's what he did. So, yeah, trapdoors are okay. They're, you know, you got to load them up. You can load them with smokeless powder, just get a little bit larger bullet, because 45-70 that shoots black powder like in a trapdoor, the barrel grooves are deeper than a modern 45-70 that you buy in the store. Okay. And that's the only thing. You got to put a larger bullet in there. It will fit in there. And that's it. Or you'll get real shitty accuracy. And Remington does make 45-70. It can be fired in any gun, even a trapdoor. But the problem with that is, again, the bullet is smaller. And the copper jacket will wear, those barrels are iron. Okay, they're not steel. Shooting a lot of that in there will wear out a barrel. You know, that's the thing. You always want to go with a lead bullet of some sort. Yes, but Joel, that shotgun, it's more of a keepsake. It's the script, you know, department store guns all had different names and stuff on there, and they're all about the same. The Daewoo. Yeah, now Daewoo makes everything from cars, radios, pistols, assault rifles, shotguns. You know, everything's a Daewoo. Yeah, double barrel. Okay, yeah, the old double barrels. They used to get them out of the back of the Sears and Roebuck's catalog back turn of the century. They were quite common, and some of them. Well, if we had Rodney here, who specializes in the side by side guns. I mean, he's got even reprints of the old catalogs and that. And he can go and he'd tell you exactly what it is, where it was made, whatever. And Rodney goes out and shoots these guns too, you know. And nobody really wants them, and you can get them fairly reasonable. And like he said, some of them are some quality stuff, them older shotguns, you know. And there's somebody like him that likes trades and collects them. So, yeah, they do have some sort of value. Okay, double barrel. Able to send you some pictures of a rifle. All right. DS88. Pretty simple. Koba49@yahoo.com. That's the email. Send me the photos to that email. Okay, again, Koba49@yahoo.com. Send me the pictures and I'll tell you if I can see what it is. You know. Yeah, there are some people side by sides. I never had much. I fired a couple of them. I either have an over and under is the only break action 2-barrel guns I fired. I never really had a lot of side-by-sides. But I remember I was in a gun shop years ago looking at um, some used shotguns or used guns in a used gun rack. And an older gentleman come over and picked up a side-by-side shotgun. And he goes, here's the only gun for a left-handed man. And thinking about it, I never realized that left-handed people used to shoot side-by-sides to go hunt with. Um, so that's something I didn't realize. And yeah, there's women on the skeet range. The one skeet range I went to, I shot trap mostly, but I'd go down to skeet range and I shot a few rounds of skeet. You know, I was already into the trap, had the guns and all this other, so I kind of dabbled around down there, but never got into it. But yeah, there's some women that come down there with a 28 gauge, and I mean run the course, you know. And skeet was a tad bit popular with women. You didn't really see a lot of women on the trap field than you did on the skeet range. The diameter of the barrels was something else. Is that you talking about the Daewoo shotguns? Yeah, could be. Who knows? They're Koreans, you know. Yeah, trap doors and shotguns. And shotgun sports are a lot of fun, you know. I shot trap for about 5, 6 years. You know, I used to travel all around the state, go to different clubs. You burn up a ton of shotgun shells, and it just got to where it was crazy expensive. Even reloading all my own shells, I used to get 2 or 4 8-pound kegs of powder. Then my wife went with me, and then it turned into 500 because I'd fire 300 rounds in a complete course, singles, handicap, and doubles. So I'd shoot 300 rounds. My wife would shoot singles and her handicap. So that's another 200 rounds. So every time me and her went to an event, if we went to 1 or 2 a month, okay, it was 1,000 12-gauge shotgun shells. Okay, 2 trips. And I mean, we used to sit upstairs and load the cases of the stuff at a time. And I remember them 8-pound kegs, just flinging them out. And of course, a bag of shot was $19. Okay. But when a bag of shot, that's what went up is the shot. When the shot was $68, $70 a bag, and you got if you went down to a 1 ounce load instead of ounce and an eighth, um, you might get 250 an ounce. You might get 300 out of, or if you even want to cut it to 5/8, you know, get yourself some more. But you know, it just became excruciatingly expensive. It was a lot of fun. It was a whole day event. You go out there, set up, you meet all the people and their wives and that. And we have some kind of a lunch. The clubs would have some sort of lunch for us and that. And it was all good fun. I mean, I really, really liked it. Okay. But fortunately, you know, there's still people go out there. I see them on the range. But all of that shooting also, there is a physical part of it. Trap is endurance. Skeet with a lightweight gun at the close range. That's why I think a lot of women like it. Is, you know, the reflexes are sharp. You go with a 28, and I fired skeet with a 28 gauge. I really don't need nothing bigger, and I can just about run 25 with it. And that's like I said, that's a little bit different. See, the trap, that's where the shooting the distance, shooting the big 12 gauge, the heavy gun over and over again. It's a game of your stamina and physical endurance. Okay. So that's something else. I just ain't got it no more. And for me to go out like now, if they're running an event now, which they do in this heat, I've seen old timers like myself, heat exhaustion, go down. The guy has to just say, hey, I can't go on anymore. They take him in a clubhouse in the air conditioning, get him some water, and you have to call it quits. Peninsula, Michigan. Okay. Well, yeah, it's all of it. It's like I went out, I'm getting some videos up. I went out and shot my 9mm carbine, got that damn thing running right finally. The thing was a pain in the ass because it's got a 16-inch barrel on it. So you got to tweak it and get the damn buffer and everything in there just right so it runs right without tearing itself apart. And it was rough action. I mean, at 50 yards I couldn't hit a damn thing with it. But I guess after it's worn in somewhat, now it's to where I can keep all of them in one of them diamonds, off the bench and shoot it. So I was happy with that. And then there was the giant controversy of those Remington rolling blocks and the 7mm Mauser. And this is something I've had people email me and go crazy and just, I heard they're not safe and I heard they changed the cartridge dimensions, like 11 thousandths. That's not true. There's no way they had a cartridge, okay, that was made back in 1893, and the dimensions, even if they're in millimeters, it might change a few thousandths, which isn't going to harm nothing. But to say that they actually all of a sudden in the 20s changed the dimensions, that would qualify to be another cartridge. They'd have to rename it or something. And they didn't do that because all the millions of rifles that were in service with all these militaries, they didn't do that. So, I don't know who the hell come up with that concept, but I've been arguing with people, and there's several other people that made these videos about these rifles, and one guy, I just said, look, take the damn gun to a gunsmith and have him headspace it with the proper headspace gauges. And then you don't have to worry. Because I'm not going to tell you some half-ass thing, just have somebody headspace it. Well, okay, that's the definitive answer. Because what they're talking about, what they're describing is excessive headspace. All right. And even though rolling blocks all use rim cartridges, which headspace off the rim, then even if the chamber is off, it don't matter as long as where you're locking up headspaces. If it's really bad, it'll just wreck your brass. Okay. But on a rimless case, it headspaces by going into the chamber, and where the shoulder is, you push it in, it goes in so far. That's it. Okay. If you're going in too far, then either the rolling block thing that seals it is the wrong one, not for that caliber, which a lot of what these people are describing, that's what's wrong. One guy said with the hammer down, it moves. It's the wrong block. Or some of these guns, I've seen guns where the rust oozes out, this orange crud will ooze out of the barrel, and somebody picks these up, wants to sell them as surplus. So what do? Dump some kind of vapor rust or something and run with a drill, brush of some sort. Or if the chamber is really, really corroded, they may try to give it a little cut with a chamber reamer, and that would make the headspace off. Okay, if you eroded the chamber out. Okay, pretty simple. But we like to complicate things and bring up the discussion. Vintage high standard model HB. Yeah, high standard. I had that one, that guy I got from that guy, that gun was accurate as shit. His father just carried that target gun for years. That gun was super accurate. All right, so you're up there. You got to be on the water up in a peninsula in Michigan because it's 90 something here. Southeast Missouri. All right, where were you in Missouri? A bunch of the guys had Mike Larkey had a bunch of the fellows from the ship because it's 40th year of commissioning. They're all in Missouri. I was talking to a bunch of the fellows out there on a Zoom meeting yesterday. Southeast Missouri. Kingsford Iron Mountain. Right next to the Wisconsin border. All right. Hell, you're almost up there with them Canadians. All right, yeah, you probably, I don't think that's where they were because one guy, St. Louis, it didn't take him long to drive to where they were. I'm not quite sure what town they live in, but I didn't know that so many of them fellas lived around there. I know the one guy lives in St. Louis. I forget where the fella that ran it, where he lives. And then there's another one that lives somewhere down there, Ward. I think he was a cook or something. I can't remember. But yeah, it was good to see the fellas after 20, 30 years. All right, so they were somewhere close by, 150 miles north. Yeah, so I never knew where each one lived exactly. It's kind of like my one duty station. There were 5 people I was stationed with to live in Tennessee. Okay, and I didn't know all these guys on the ship. Most of the ones I was with were from Washington State, California, whatever, Las Vegas, Nevada, Arizona. You know, I don't know why the hell you join the service and get stationed. I get stationed close to home. Me, I wanted to get as far away from home as I could. So the further from New York I was, the happier I was. And the gun geek, yeah, I can't see them changing the case. Yeah, but even if they change the throat, it's not going to create a headspace problem where the cases are separating or doing this weird crap. Everything they're describing is bad headspace. And they'll do that on any gun, a rolling block, a bolt action rifle, whatever the hell. If you got real bad headspace, okay? And like I said, we all know the Lee Enfield's headspace off the rim. And the reason they did that is so whoever made the cartridges, okay, fit in there. And actually, the cartridges are made way undersized because if you ever shoot any of your guns, you'll see that the brass kind of stretches the hell out. That's why you got to neck size them to the gun. But yeah, they're just going on with this that somebody wrote a book and said that they're all dangerous guns, and he said even the ones with are label or some were even chambered. I think some were chambered in 303 British. Remington chambered all of them around the turn of the century to steel rolling blocks. Chambered a lot of them for modern cartridges, and all of them old ones, the Russian round, the British round, and the French round, all used rim cartridges that had space like a shotgun or a 22. That's where somebody was asking me of putting something 30 caliber in a 3 Win mag. It don't work that way. Yeah, they're both 30 caliber, but like putting a 22 short. That doesn't work that way with high-powered rifles. But yeah, I don't understand that. And this one guy, he was a long-time subscriber, and he, I worked with him on making some cartridges for the older guns. And when this came up, he just kept, and I have no idea what the hell he was talking about. I bought this gun at an auction, and from the Indian head penny inlaid in the stock, I could tell that this was not sent to military service, even though it had a bayonet lug on it. Somebody bought this gun through Remington way, way back, and it looks like they never even really shot it much. Okay. And when I got it, the thing's like mint pristine. I just took some old Remington, I took some old commercial ammo in this gun. Yeah, I don't know. And again, it's all this hearsay. They did this, they did that. There's this whole explanation and everything. And it's like, if you are in doubt, headspace the gun. Okay, but then again, if you look at what people call themselves gunsmiths now, for a gunsmith to have a set of headspace gauges for like 7mm Mauser, how many of them guns come through his door? Or how many of them old actions you're going to see worked on? Very, very few. So a lot of people don't accumulate. Because I've been with gunsmiths that I said, can I get this? Well, I don't have the gauges. All right. End of story right there and now. Because like for a set of 3 gauges, if you have them made up by that one company, it is like $130. Because I got them I had them made for the 6.5 Carcano. Because I had so many rifles. Okay, I had the 8mm Mausers were easy to get. Okay, I didn't have to wait long for them. Because like when I went through all my Gewehr 88s, I went and headspaced all of them to make sure, because a lot of these guns are slapped together from parts, and nobody checks the headspaces. It's kind of like the Vetterli whatever /15s or something that shoot the 6.5 Carcano. I believe the reason them guns had a lot of problems is whenever they ship them stupid things in here, it's just like this recent batch of Carcanos that one guy was taking pictures and posting them on Facebook. All the rifles come in a crate, all the bolts are in another crate. They're not matched, they're not serial numbered. They just shove them into the guns as they go. That's how they used to ship them. So they probably took all them Vetterlis, pulled the bolts out, and then just shoved them back in haphazardly. And when I headspaced the 3 that I have left, one is super tight, and that's the one that shoots good. And one of them, I don't know if it took the no-go gauge or the field gauge. Took the no-go, but it didn't quite take the field gauge. So it's borderline of being, I might go and swap the bolts around and see if I can get them the headspace better. But that's the problem with it. And when you're in doubt, it's your life. Get it checked out. Okay, you moved from California. Yeah, California ain't a fun place to live anymore. I was stationed out there in the 80s in Long Beach and San Diego, southern end of it. The training command was in San Diego, where my school was. My tech school was out there. And it was an okay place to live. Southern California, 40 years ago, what wasn't bad. I went back there 2014, and it depends what you do. Okay, but anything to do, the one base is still there. One of the base in Long Beach closed. So that town, they said when they shut that down, that little town there died. Um, San Diego's still going. But if you were stationed there, really ain't a lot of stuff to do. A lot of them areas down in National City and that, they tore all that down, put up car lots. And, if you were on foot and didn't have a car going out in the base, there's nothing out there. A lot of them little places we go get a beer and a hamburger or something, all that stuff's been bulldozed and gone. You know. Yeah, California ain't a fun place no more. But yeah, Gun Geek. One fellow was asking about an old side by side. We don't have dear old side by side Rodney with us. 314 showed up the last few chats and kind of engaged in the discussion. So that was nice of him. He even came on Father's Day, I think. Uh, so good to hear that discussion. All right. Well, we got into over an hour. Things are getting better. We got about 12 people here. Better than 4. Things are a little slow, but move. There you go. Like I said, when it was good to live down there. But yep. So 40 years. I remember that day well down there in Long Beach. That's a shithole now. Well, he usually shows up towards the end. I don't know if he's out eating lunch or whatever the hell. He pops up towards the end of the chat after almost been on an hour and a half, 2 hours. But he does come in every now and again. But yeah, like I said, the one time we need him, an expert in that field of old generic side by side shotguns, he's not here. But I tell you one thing though, Gun Geek, he does know his shit about them guns. I had one I had to work on for an old guy here, and Rod helped me identify it and all this other stuff, and he even sent me the reprint of a catalog from 1920 or something. It showed the gun in there and what the original cost was. And I printed that out and gave it to the guy after he had a screw missing, and I had to go and make him a screw to hold something there in the stock. And yeah, he was happy about it. Rodney Allen. I said I got top-notch expert working on this for you for $40 shotgun. Yeah, I got some experts. Oh. All right. Anything else out there? We're gonna do our shotgun testing. Yeah. Yeah, they used to reprint the Sears and Roebuck catalog for years. We used to get them back in the 70s. I mean, it was the size of a phone book. Okay, it was like from 1915 or 1910 or something. And we used to sit there for hours. Like they used to say, hey, the new Sears and Roebuck catalog's here. And we'd sit there for hours and just look at that thing. And there was anything and everything in there. Pocket watches, uh, prosthetic legs and stuff. If you had your leg missing, you can order one through the Sears and Roebuck catalog. Clothing, suits, firearms, fishing poles. It was all pocket watches. If you wanted to identify, see if you can find an old pocket watch in there or whatever. It was crazy, and a lot of fun. All right, DS88, you just send me them photos, and when I get around to it, I'll try to figure out what you got. Houses. They used to have houses in the Sears and Roebuck's catalog. Huh. But yeah, that was fun. A lot of the generic revolvers, $2, $3 handguns. You used to get them. And the companies who put another name on there, they wouldn't even if it was Harrington or Richardson or how was the other one that made them? I forget, but they and you find them. And I remember I went to one gun shop, and this guy he must have bought every single one of them piece of crap guns in there because he had a whole case full of them when he opened this up. This young guy getting a start. There ain't a single one of them in there I try to shoot, but they were there. You know, some people do collect them. I had some of them. I forget what it was. They were rimfire, and I've seen them around. I knew one guy had them. I sold them. Then I went to auctions and I'd buy them for $60, $70. And some of them I thought about, but then it costs you $300 to get the brass machined out and put a 22 blank in there and a bullet mold because they were all like heeled bullets that shoot in them. And it would cost me 3 times the damn cost of the gun to get 50 cartridges to try to line up and shoot in there, which probably could have done. But I gave up on that project because then once I go and shoot the pistol and don't lose any fingers or my hand, you know, and you got to try to sell it all. Yeah, Yukon 454. That's true. See, Sears and Roebuck's. I guess the guy that started it was a railroad worker, and he bought some pocket watches, had them delivered by the train, and sold them and made a profit. So he decided to mail order using the railroad system, and that's how he founded that company. You know, you just get a general warehouse, had the stuff brought in, package it up, mail it or send it, and like you said, the whole house kit, put it right on a flat car, send it down there. Yeah, yeah, it was considered an early form of softcore porn. Yeah, so losing a little bit of circulation in my leg. Oh, let me check my upload. All right, that thing went through. And let me shut all of this crap down. Okay. So yeah, another fun day. Let me ask you, Gun Geek, is it hot up there where you live? It's been in the 90s all the way from the bottom of Maine. I don't know, my buddy in Florida. Well, Florida's always hot. But yeah, we've been in 3 weeks. We got no crops growing anywhere. The corn they're growing in the fields around here ain't doing well. Uh, I didn't have to mow the lawn for 2 weeks. That was nice. Um, but yeah, this heat wave, it's getting bad. And today's another one, 95 or something out there. I ain't. Well, I said rain's coming. All right, 68. So yeah, it didn't go up that high, up to where you fellows were, because it was in the high 90s back up there in Utica and the Adirondacks. Halfway up New York State where I used to live. It was quite intense. Uh, up there, if it gets up to 94, 95, that ain't good. In the high 80s. Okay. No, not here. This stuff ain't even over 2 foot. Okay. I mean, everybody's complaining and don't look good. And they took in some hay around a lot of the farms here. And like my wife said, the way this weather is, the grass ain't growing. So they ain't going to be cutting much. So she goes, cost of everything's going to go up. Cost of feeding the animals, cost of all of it. All right. Oh, well. So, yes, we're going to start our shotgun testing here in a couple weeks. Wouldn't ran all those discount handguns, but that's true. If you guys, if you guys are looking for a deal, I mean, I've seen Bud's Gun Shop had one of them little Ruger CP, whatever, the little 380s, the single stack one. I remember when they first come out all them years ago, I got one finally after I waited a year and a half, paid $310 for it. Okay. $199 Buds has it for. And I'm talking brand name guns. I ain't talking about these Turkish guns. Like I told you, these Turkish guns, you catch a sale, you get them for $100. 100 and a half for a semi-auto. That's crazy. And if you can use them for just hunting, you know, or like you said, a gun just to have around the house didn't cost you an arm and a leg that can fire some 2 3/4 double-aught buckshot. That's all you need for the apocalypse days or whatever the hell. And like I said, this channel blends in between military guns, military equipment, and then we get our preppers, survival guys that like the fact. I remember some people used to buy a case. This one prepper said, I bought a whole case of Mosin and Gantz and 4 or 5 cases of ammo and just put it up so when society collapses, I can arm some people and go forward, and that's about the truth of it. If worse comes to worse, better have a Mosin and Gantz and no gun at all. But yeah, I'm seeing a backlash in terms of guns. Back during the health crisis, I remember going to the big box stores. And there's nothing on the shelves unless it had a price tag of like $1,700 on it. They had like 10 guns. All of them were close to $2,000. And that was all that was all they had. No used guns, no nothing. And it was like that for months on end. But now the economy sucks. Everyone's broke. And these companies, even if they backed off on their production, I guess the stuff's not selling. Anybody in the U.S. that doesn't have a basic gun of some sort, okay, is either too young to buy one or way behind the times, okay, and that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing if you're looking to buy some firearms, the only thing that you're gonna get hammered on is the mill surplus guns. There's fewer and fewer of them coming in shipments, mostly pistols. I think several of the places had some Makarovs and some of the Tokarevs guns, either the Yugos or whatever, are coming in, but nothing. And still some of the 82s and 83s. I forget the Czech ones. CZ 82s. 82s are hard to find. 83s pop up. Where you can find them. Nagants, I think somebody had some Nagants. They're 450 now. Is going rate for Mosin. It was when they had a smattering of them come in a few years ago. They went to 350. Now they're 450. So, and the Swiss guns show up to to where Royal Piger had them. And I know they weren't over in Ethiopia. Somehow he got his hands on some. And I think Center Fire System would get a bunch of some or the other. And then I remember those Portuguese Mausers and Portuguese K98s came in. I don't know where they found them, but several people were selling them, and they were quite pricey. I don't know, I never seen anybody explain how the bores were on them or any of that other stuff. I don't know what condition they were in or where they came from, Portugal or somewhere. I don't know. Okay, 1.2 guns in America per person. That sounds about right. But see, that's not the whole population. But that's about the number of guns out there. That's true. That's why they ain't gonna confiscate nothing. That's all going out the window. So, all right, guys, it's getting to be about an hour and a half. Turnout wasn't too bad. At least we got some discussions going here. It was a little slow for the first half hour, but I'm glad you all showed up, put some input into the discussion here. Sad all we talk about is the weather and stuff, but who knows? We'll see how the political theatrics heat up here in the next few months. Might be something we can have a discussion about if we're still allowed on the internet. But I think I'm going to call it quits, and it'll be next week, next Sunday. I'll try to keep going every Sunday at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard for an hour or so. So that way we have something a little bit consistent with it. So, all right, guys, thank you for showing up. Thanks for your input, and I'll see you next week.